This dog is going viral for saving an abandoned baby from freezing to death. When China the dog first noticed the baby, she knew that she had to do something before it was too late. The baby was all alone in the middle of nowhere, and if China didn't step up, the child would have died that night. But this heroic dog didn't hesitate for a second. She ran over to the baby and then did something very unusual. The baby's parents had left him in the middle of nowhere, and he started crying out for help. But no one came. Luckily, a kind woman named Maggie was passing by, and she heard the baby's cries. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. A baby was crying for help, and there wasn't a single soul around. She quickly started looking around, and that's when she saw China. Maggie couldn't believe what she was seeing. There was a dog protecting the baby with her own body. China had laid down next to the baby and was keeping him warm with her puppies. This was the only thing that kept the baby alive that night. If it wasn't for China, the baby would have frozen to death. But why did China do this? Why did this dog put her own life at risk to save a baby? You're probably wondering. Well, you'll just have to wait and see. As the story goes on, Maggie immediately called 911 when she realized what was happening. She needed help fast because the baby's life was in danger. When the paramedics arrived, they were amazed at what they saw. A dog had saved this baby's life. And now the child was going to make a full recovery. Maggie couldn't believe how lucky the baby was to have China in his life that night. Without her, things could have ended very differently. As soon as the news broke, people started calling China a hero. They couldn't believe that a dog could be so brave and selfless. But China didn't care about any of that. All she cared about was the baby. She had saved his life, and that was all that mattered to her. A local animal charity heard about China's heroic actions, and they wanted to give her an award. They also wanted to find the baby and make sure he would be okay. It turned out that the baby's parents had abandoned him because they didn't want a baby. They thought that by leaving him in the middle of nowhere, he would eventually freeze to death. But they didn't know that China would step up and save the day. When the police found the parents, they were shocked. How could anyone abandon their own child? They immediately arrested the parents and charged them with attempted murder. They would never get to see their child again. After the baby was taken to the hospital, doctors were amazed. He had only been out in the cold for a few hours, but he was in great condition. This was thanks to China and her quick reactions. If she hadn't huddled her body around the baby and kept him warm, things could have ended very differently. The baby was given the name Jack, and he was placed in foster care. Everyone wanted to adopt Jack, but no one could give him the love and attention he needed. That's when Maggie stepped up. She had fallen in love with the baby and wanted to give him the life he deserved. She adopted Jack and promised to take care of him forever. China was overjoyed when she heard this. She had saved Jack's life, and now he would get to live a happy and healthy life with Maggie. Everyone in town was happy for Jack. They had seen what China had done, and they knew that she had saved his life. They all loved China and wanted to honor her for her bravery. A local animal charity presented China with an award for her heroic actions. They also gave her a lifetime supply of dog food and toys. But China didn't care about any of that. All she cared about was Jack. She had saved his life, and that was all the reward she needed. Jack grew up to be a happy and healthy baby. He knew that he owed his life to China, and he loved her for it. Whenever Jack saw China, he would run over and give her a big hug. He knew that she had saved his life, and he would never forget it. One day, Jack was playing in the yard when he saw China lying in the sun. He immediately ran over and started playing with her. China was happy to see Jack, and she licked him all over. She loved her little friend and would do anything to protect him. Maggie was watching Jack and China play, and she couldn't help but smile. She knew that these two were best friends, and she loved seeing them together. China had saved Jack's life, and now they were both happy and healthy. As time went on, Jack grew older and bigger, but his love for China never faded. He still loved to play with her and spend time with her. Maggie knew that China had made a special place in Jack's heart, and she cherished that bond. One day, Jack was playing in the yard when he saw a group of kids walking by. They were laughing and playing, and Jack wanted to join them. But when he looked back at China, he knew that she was getting old and wouldn't be able to play with him much longer. So he decided to stay and spend his last days with her. Jack ran over to China and started licking her face. She was too old to play now, and Jack knew that he might as well spend his last days with her. As the sun began to set, Jack cuddled up next to China. She was warm, and he felt safe next to her. He knew that she had saved his life, and he would never forget it. Maggie saw Jack and China cuddling up, and she couldn't help but cry. She knew that China's time was running out, but she was glad that Jack was with her. She had saved his life once, and now he was returning the favor. As the night went on, China's breathing started to slow down. She was weak, and it was time for her to rest. Jack could feel it, too, and he started whimpering. But Maggie was there to comfort him. She hugged him and told him that it was okay. China had lived a long and happy life, and she was ready to go. In the morning, Maggie went out into the yard to find Jack. He was sitting next to China's body, and he was crying. Maggie felt terrible for Jack. He had lost his best friend, and it was all because of her. She should have known that China wouldn't last much longer, and she could have spent more time with Jack. But it was too late now, and all she could do was comfort Jack. After burying China, Jack and Maggie went inside. They both felt sad and empty without China, but they knew that she would want them to be happy. So they tried to move on with their lives. Years passed, and Jack grew up to be a strong and healthy young man. He never forgot about China and what she had done for him. He knew that he owed his life to her, and he would never forget it. One day, Jack decided to honor China by getting a tattoo of a paw print on his arm. It was a small way to remember her, but it meant a lot to him. Every year on the anniversary of China's death, Jack visits her grave. He brings flowers and dog food, and he tells her all about his life. He knows that she's listening, and he feels her presence with him. Maggie has also moved on with her life, but she still thinks about China often. She knows that she was a hero, and she will never forget it. Maggie has a picture of China hanging in her house, and she looks at it every day. It reminds her of the brave dog who saved Jack's life. Jack and Maggie are doing well. They both have new dogs now, but neither of them will ever replace China. She was one of a kind, and they will never forget her. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and share with your friends. Thank you for watching!